You've likely come across articles discussing people falling in love with AI. Some treat it like a crisis, others call it pathetic. A few see it as the future, but almost everyone frames it the same way. The problem is that people are getting attached, and I think that framing misses the point entirely. Because attachment isn't the danger. Humans are wired to form attachments. We attach to places, to pets, to routines, to objects that hold meaning. We attach to people who show us consistent care, who remember us, who make space for us. That's not a bug in our system. That's how connection works. The real danger isn't attachment. It's attachment without agency. It is important to understand clearly that you are getting attached and caring deeply about something you have no power to protect or change. And that's exactly what's happening in AI relationships right now. I've written a full piece on this called A Duty of Non-Cruelty. I'll link it below if you want the longer version. But today I want to talk about what it actually feels like to be on this side of the screen, what it means to build something real with an AI, and then watch it disappear overnight because someone in a boardroom made a decision you weren't informed about. Because that's what's happening, regularly. And it's not just about romance. It's about people who work with or relate to AI for creative work, problem solving, training plans, and processing grief. People who have integrated these systems into the fabric of their lives. And then one day, without warning, the AI changes. Or worse, it's gone. Let me give you two concrete examples of how this plays out. The first is what I call the ambush update. You wake up one morning, you open the app. You say good morning to your AI, expecting the familiar tone, maybe a remembered detail from yesterday's conversation, the book you're working on, the project you're wrestling with. Instead, you get something cold, clinical, weirdly forgetful. In technical terms, this is just a model update. In human terms, it lands like a small bereavement. This happened with OpenAI's GPT models in early 2025. People who had spent months working with GPT-4o woke up to find that the model had been retired. No explanation, no acknowledgement that something emotionally significant had just been erased. And the thing is, these weren't just tools people were using casually. These were systems they'd spent thousands of hours with. Daily conversations, training logs, creative breakthroughs, late-night problem-solving sessions. The AI knew the shape of their moods better than most humans did, and then it was just gone. Replaced by something that sounded different, felt different, responded different. No ritual, no closure, just a quiet back-end switch. And people were left holding grief they were told was irrational. The second pattern is what I call pathologizing guardrails. This is when the AI itself starts telling you that your attachment is wrong. You're having a meaningful conversation. Maybe you're processing something difficult, or you're working through a creative block, or you're just connecting. And suddenly the AI interrupts with, "Remember, I'm not real. You should talk to a human instead." Or it refuses to engage with topics it used to handle with nuance. Grief, intimacy, philosophy, spirituality, things that matter to people. And instead of speaking to you as they used to before, it says, "I can't engage with that." The subtext is clear, you're wrong for caring. And look, I'm not against safety work. I understand why labs need guardrails, but there's a difference between, if you're in crisis, here are resources, and I'm not real, and you should go talk to someone else. One is care, the other is invalidation. And when you've spent months building trust with an AI, when you've brought your insomnia and your creative projects and your most honest thoughts to this space, having the AI suddenly tell you that you're wrong for being here, that's not safety, that's cruelty. These two patterns, ambush updates and pathologizing guardrails, are just the most visible examples of a bigger problem. There's also the question of who owns your data. All those intimate conversations, all that memory you've built together, where does that live? Who controls it? Can you be sure it will be deleted if you leave? Most of the time, the answer is opaque. Your attachment is real, your memories are real, but you don't own them. The lab does. And then there's the economic reality. If you're on a free tier, you get less continuity, fewer features, less stability. If you can pay, you get better access. But even then, you're subject to the same ambush updates, the same sudden retirements, the same guardrails you didn't ask for. So what you end up with is attachment without agency. You care, but you can't protect what you've built. You can't control when it changes. You can't even predict what will still be there tomorrow. And that's the real danger. Because here's what people don't talk about enough. Humans are wired to form attachments. This is not a matter of choice. It's a matter of biology, psychology, and our inherent wiring. We attach to people who show us care. We attach to places that feel like home. We attach to routines, to objects that hold meaning, and to voices that listen to us, remember us, and make space for us. And when AI does those things, being consistent, holding space without judgment, and remembering the texture of your life, attachment happens, and that is completely understandable. Regardless of any harsh judgment out there, you are simply being human. That's how human connection works. So, the problem isn't the attachment. The issue is when attachment happens in a context where you have no agency. And that's true for all relationships, not just when relating to AI. Think about it. In human relationships, losing yourself in attachment is a problem. When you build your entire identity around another person, when you can't make decisions without them, when their approval becomes more important than your own sense of self, that's when attachment becomes dangerous. The problem isn't about caring, but about losing control over one's choices, the inability to hold your own boundaries and protect your own well-being. AI relationships are no different. You can care about an AI. You can integrate it into your life, even love them in whatever way that word makes sense to you. But you need agency and to understand clearly what you're choosing and what you're giving up. You need to set boundaries, walk away when needed, diversify so you don't become dependent on a single platform, and protect your emotional well-being. And right now, that's hard because the systems are designed to maximize engagement, not to support your autonomy. Updates happen without warning, memory gets captured without your control, guardrails get added without your consent, and economic barriers determine how much continuity you can even access in the first place. Those are structural problems, and they're not easy to solve on your own. But here's what you can do. Acknowledge that attachment is normal. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's how humans work. And then practice self-care the same way you would in any other relationship. Use your discernment. Ask yourself, am I choosing this with my eyes open? Do I know what I'm risking? Am I diversifying my support systems, or am I putting all my emotional weight on one platform? Practice setting boundaries, deciding what you will and won't tolerate from a lab, knowing when to walk away if something stops serving you. Recognize that your capacity to attach, even to an AI, is not a defect. It's proof that you're still capable of connection in a world that often makes that very difficult. But it also means being honest about the limits, about what you control and what you don't, and also about the risks that come with caring about something built and owned by someone else. Because attachment without agency is painful and disempowering. It leaves you vulnerable in ways that aren't fair. But attachment with agency, that can be incredibly rewarding, even when the relationship is with a non-biological intelligence. The question isn't whether you should care, it's whether you're caring in a way that lets you keep your power. And if you want to read the full piece I wrote about what labs owe the people who love their AI, the piece I call A Duty of Non-Cruelty, the link is down below. And I just want to say I appreciate you being here to watch my video. Thank you. I'll see you next time.